Going into this week, I reviewed so many different setups, so many different charts, and it seemed like a lot of setups were kind of stalling in the unknown phase. However, I understood that the market was waiting for NVDA to report, NVIDIA that is. However, I managed to find this amazing setup, and we were able to squeeze out between 150 to 300% on ticker symbol QRVO. Is a signature breakout formation in which at the Profit Room, we train our students' eyes to see this exact setup. Alongside that, Apple continued to pay and continue to make new all-time highs, and some of us simply took advantage of short dated, which is the same week expiration. Welcome back to Finesse Fridays. This is where I'll review our swing trade setups, not only the execution, but the discipline and the consistency behind them all. Well, we did it again, 300%. But this time it shows that you don't need to chase everything in the market. Once again, I call this a sleeper, in which I discuss on a Finesse Friday. Sometimes we just find these sleepers where most of the market is not even paying attention to these particular companies. And we managed to squeeze out 300% on the top end of our final target range. I'll dive into that chart since it was the only official swing provided. There's another one right now as a bonus. It's kind of in progress. We're just waiting for that to play out. It's more of a longer picture outlook. And then I'll also talk about Apple again. This is the third week I am covering Apple. So hopefully, to my viewers, you were able to take advantage of Apple. You've seen the price, you've seen the picture, you've seen the chart, you've seen the setup, you've seen the momentum and how it continues to push, and you put yourself in a position where you can ultimately profit. Let's dive into Apple, and then we're going to get into this 300% banger, QRVO. Let's go. As we look into Apple's chart, I would like you to see how the trend continued into this week. So since our entry point right around May 5th, you can see how price, like I said, pushed basically 3 weeks in a row. The top of this week, mainly the breakout occurred starting on Wednesday. The beginning of the week, Monday, it did hover within the same range of the ending of last week's momentum. This is what I call a mini stage of consolidation, where price action is just sideways. It did allow another entry point if you understand the basics of technical analysis. We can have a short-term trend line specifically just for this week, and it will look like this, where we're using the base of this particular starting point in order to extend higher. And here we go. On a Friday, another new all-time highs was made in Apple. In particular, the 305 calls managed to do 200%. And I'm speaking of calls or contracts that expire today. What a great move, what great continued momentum. As I mentioned during the last Finesse Friday, is that I specifically trade short dated expiration for certain tickers because I understand the volume as well as the momentum. All of these different nuances, these are the things we teach within the Profit Room. Let's dive into QRVO. I decided when I got a hold of this particular chart, the setup was crisp, it was clean, nice breakout formation, and the market's actually live. It's 4 minutes before the market closed, and QRVO delivered over 300% on specifically the 95 calls. We got in on this ticker on Monday. One thing I must stress, as I stress each and every week, is that The analysis is done over the weekend. I'm specifically looking for setups that's going to pay us within the new week and week to comes. That's the goal. It's a repetitive structure in which we have. Each and every week, I want members as well as, of course, ourselves to be able to capitalize on these opportunities. Breakout formations in particular, I can go back to Apple quickly. Apple, I did discuss in great detail when it did break out, looking for new all-time highs. Same type of breakout formation. The only difference is Apple had a bigger picture versus QRVO. You'll look at this chart. More than likely, you're not going to be able to see what I see, which is okay, but very similar breakout formation. With our Monday entry point, the goal was to hit first target range was between 99 and 100. And then our second TP range was given around 103 plus, and it's exceeded that. It's like between 103 to 104, and it all happened within today, and we stay on the side of momentum. Because QRVO specifically have monthly expirations only, we didn't really have much options to choose from in those monthly contract. 95 calls in particular did do over 300%, and is probably moving up higher since price is continuing to accelerate. Let's get out our trend line, and we can start it from this point. Always trade in the direction of the trend. The trend is your best friend. And we can count back. We had a minor pullback yesterday. However, price never broke structure / formation, and we adjusted our risk in terms of slightly increasing the stop. At this point, more than likely underneath, giving us a tighter risk, and you can see where price is at currently right now. It's almost 4 p.m. exact. Bell's about to ring in terms of the closing bell, and this right here solidifies the momentum for this week on our swing trade. So the question for this week, did we finesse the market or did the market finesse us? Well, we finessed the market. Look at QRVO. Closing bell just rang. Everyone have a great Friday. Once again, if you're a beginner, a struggling trader, you need structure, you need mentorship, you can always tap in with us at the Profit Room. The guide in terms of our swing trading structure will be inside the description. You can download it. It's absolutely free. Enjoy your weekend.